Hi. So we are going to talk now about decorating the rocket. And there's lots of different ways that you can do that. You can use Sharpie and just draw on here. I wouldn't use anything like Crayola markers because they don't really dry and they'll forever smear. You can use spray paint. Spray paint works pretty well. I would use like dowels and kind of stick them in the ground. Put your rocket on the end of the dowel and spray paint it. You can use acrylic paint. That's what I'm going to use. So acrylic paint is like this kind of paint. These little bottles that you can find at Michael's or Hobby Lobby or Myers. And then I'm also using a foam brush and a paper plate. So the paper plate's going to be like my paint holder. And I would be using a paintbrush, but I can't find one anywhere. They're all ruined. With paint dried in them, or the bristles are falling out. So anyway, if you're painting your rocket, now if you're spray painting it, you can just spray paint away. Be careful that a whole lot of paint doesn't drip in there. And we'll leave our noses white because it makes the nose of the rocket slide into the rocket body a lot easier. And it's just that. You don't have to paint your rocket. You don't have to decorate it in any way. It just makes it nice to see. You could also put stickers on there. That would be true. You could put glue on here and sprinkle glitter on it if you want to do that. Anyway, but I just wanted to add a little bit more detail in case you want to paint your rocket, what I would do if you wanted to use acrylic paints, because that's what I'm doing. So you just take your sandpaper and you're going to rough up the surface a little bit. You don't have to sand a whole lot. Be careful that you don't knock off like a fin or a launch lug, because then you have to glue it back on. No big crisis if you do knock it off. Like, the world isn't going to end, but now you have to wait for more paint to dry. And we're almost done with that. So I'm just sanding around here a little bit, roughing up my surfaces. Now I'm choosing to not paint my fins because I don't want to do anything that would risk them falling off. So I'm choosing to stay away from doing that. And no, I hate putting my fins on there. That is like the worst part of this. And so I'm choosing to not mess with them any more than what I need to. So I just took my sandpaper and I roughed up the outside of my rocket. You could feel that the rocket body was a little bit waxy. So when you rough it up, it makes the paint adhere a little bit better. So I'm just going to use like 3 different colors. I have orange, blue, and green, like my favorite color combination. I'll put a little bit of orange on my pie plate, and then I'll just use my paintbrush to paint the part that I want orange. I'm going to start with the tricky part down by the fins because it's the hardest part to get around. And if I get on my fins a little bit, I will not cry, neither should you. So I'm painting up to my fins, and then I'm going to do one more swoop all the way around. That's kind of how I'm doing it. So I'll let one color dry, rinse out my paintbrush, do another color, rinse out my paintbrush, do another color. Okay, so that's what mine ended up with. And you see that here I got a little bit of paint on my other fin. Nothing to cry about, just a little extra color, an extra little pizzazz. You're going to try to not get paint inside of your launch lug. It just makes it really hard to put the metal stake through there. And you don't want to run into any issues on launch day. So I'm going to let this dry. I will do another coat to make the paint coat a little bit better so it looks a little bit more solid. One of the benefits of using this kind of paint, not only is it cheap and it does the job, but it dries pretty quick, so I can put a second layer on before the paint that I put on my pie plate or my paper plate before that dries. Okay, now I'm ready to add a little bit of green. So I just rinsed my brush and I'm going to do some green. I did not let my orange dry as much as I should have, so there may be some smearing right at the boundary, but that's okay. Now just remember guys, any layers that you add to your, just like my disclaimer on the description says, any layers, any decoration that you add to your rocket can affect its aerodynamicness, how it flies through the air. So if you really want to make sure that your rocket goes as far as it can, go for it. You know, add minimal bling, just make sure you put your name on here somehow. I will have Sharpies at Rocket Day, but I also like to decorate my rocket. And the green covered pretty well, see? So I will probably just do one coat on this and then do my blue up here. So here's my rocket, all finished, all painted. Like I said, I'm leaving the fins plain and the nose cone plain. Make sure that your shot cord is not stuck to your wet paint. Let it dry, and then we will attach the parachute and nose cone. See you in the next one.